You can see that in place.
Okay, we're going to start today. Apologies for starting slightly late, but okay. Good morning, everyone. Today, similar to yesterday, just quickly talk about the agenda. So there is one speaker from yesterday that will be actually doing a talk today, and that is Owens. So just quickly in terms of the agenda, we've got Owens Cloud-Hairy is coming through. He's the VP of AI Data Scientist in the Barclays Africa Group, so he will give a presentation. But for today, we're going to start with Tommaso Gritti. Here's the man on the right-hand side. So he flew in from Amsterdam. He's actually originally from Italy. So looking forward to your presentation and stuff. But before we start, I just wanted to show you Bayou's presentation, and unfortunately he was not able to make it today. Now Bayu is, as a matter of fact, it's this guy. He's the Chief Transformation Officer of MTN Nigeria, and he had to urgently go back to Nigeria and he sends his apologies and everything. But we've got his presentation, so we'll share this also on the Machine Intelligence Africa website. And what I was thinking, I just wanted to share just a few slides, and I just want to make a start before we get into your presentation, to show these slides and maybe talk a little bit to it. So it actually, it's complementary to a large extent to what I presented yesterday in terms of some of the use cases in Africa. He's got some really interesting ones. So I just wanted to show it there and then share it. Then we'll share the presentation with you as well. And obviously, the video is also available. So let's start there. So Bayu, just as a little bit of background, I actually had a slide yesterday where I talked about data science in Nigeria, and I talked about the first national boot camp that they've got in Nigeria. Now I got to meet Bayu, it was actually end of last year, when they were asking, can we as MIA, the Machine Intelligence Institute of Africa, can we help with their first boot camp? They had their first boot camp in Nigeria, in Lagos, Nigeria, in January this year. If you go to the Machine Intelligence Africa website, and I just want to quickly go there, so you get access to all the presentations and some things that we've shared with them. So machineintelligenceafrica.org. And if you go to the events page, that events page shows a tremendous amount of content about pretty much all the events where the Machine Intelligence Institute of Africa has been involved in. So we're not only here in South Africa, we're also connecting with others as well. But the reason here it is, so you can go to this website, and you would find links to the various events, even the AI Africa event. But this is the specific thing that I referred to. So they've got the first national summit, Big Data Economy, and he's actually an end-to-end C-level executive. So, and there's a big drive in Nigeria to build data science capacity. So in that first boot camp that was happening in January, this is now the second one, so they're quite active. There was 150 data scientists, and that was in there. And from the MIA side, we had a panel of data science experts on this side, and they were asking us questions and stuff. And it was just great to see that interaction. Now they've grown. And this was a major, big event, another big event that just happened recently, so they are really building that capacity. So it's really good. So it's unfortunate that he's not here because he could have shared a lot of that passion and stuff and things that he's doing. But just keep your eye on these guys. They are moving ahead. So in terms of his presentation, so we'll share this. So I'm not going to give you his talk. I just wanted to at least, as part of the conference, to share a little bit. I thought of some good slides here. So you specifically is talking about native intelligence versus artificial intelligence. It's probably human intelligence. We had some discussions yesterday about that, and talk about the winning the African BOP with AI. And this is actually slides that I've seen kind of thing before, and similar to what I did yesterday when we talked about the problems, the issues in Africa. I think it's always good to visualize some of the problems and things that, what are the things that we can address with smart technology. And he's got a similar kind of question. So this is very complementary to what I had yesterday. How do we use AI to address nations' sustainable development goals in Africa? And this is stuff that comes from also from the World Economic Forum, and so I think there's a consensus about what are the things that are problems. So and what do we want, what are the things that we want to do? So no poverty, no hunger, good health, it's all those things, quality education. And on the, so there's at least 17 listed there in terms of goals, but this is the critical areas of AI focus for Africa. And I think it's broader, it's not just AI, it's smart technology in general. Tracking poverty, doing diagnosis for good health, looking at quality education, causal influence development programs education, and then microfinance, good jobs and economic growth. So these are things that's also very important to the World Bank. The Gates Foundation, obviously there's a huge focus on health. As a matter of fact, today, if everything works out, later this morning, Dr. Uwe Stewart, he's the head of data analytics and of the Gates Foundation. He will join us as well. And these kind of things are very much in line with NIA, with the World Bank, with all of that. So just be interesting, I haven't seen these slides before, and talk about the same things. Let's talk about the bigger vision. So how do we use AI for Africa to address social exclusion issues and address poverty? So quality of life, health, well-being, living environment, crime, harm, criminalization. Very important here in South Africa, the major issues in that regard as well. On the resources side, material, economic resources, access to services, social resources, and then participation, living environment, crime, harm, criminalization, all of these type of things. And if you think creatively about this, and this is a really big part of my personal mission, is also how to create a better future in the smart technology era. It is just limited by our creativity. We need to collaborate, we need visionary leadership and execution. And that's why I like just connecting with these kind of guys. It's things like this, and so how can we use this to solve these problems? Because we can. And what I liked about his presentation on the next few slides is actually just talking about very specific use cases, actual things happening. And we had some discussions, even with Robert Talcott, we talked about virtual assistants and all sorts of things. I'm going to show you some examples of things in Nigeria that he's actually shared, which is quite cool. Yesterday I mentioned a few. So here he's saying AI innovation must build on established cultural and symbolic myths, from traditional evidence to medical wearables. So he's trying to Africanize some of the things here. So obviously people are wearing this, but going there. So where those sensors are providing valuable information that can help save lives and make a difference. So things are clearly moving here for Africa as well. And I think he's got this whole slide. Remember, he's got also end-to-end backgrounds, so telecommunications and stuff. So, and this is kind of a slide that just kind of summarizes kind of understanding the AI demand in the low-income segment. And yesterday I shared with you what we've done with Juma, for instance, building the next generation mobile money marketplace and working with call direct records and wallet behavior to really determine credit risk, affordability, those type of things. Based on those things, which is not traditional, that's not what banks typically do. And you deal with also with low income segment. And we work by users, deep menus and so forth. Obviously there's different types of channels that you want to communicate. But interestingly enough, in a lower income segment, with feature phones, the user deep menus work quite well. You can do quite a bit via that. Anyway, so I'm not going to go into details there, but just to show you some of the examples that he's got. So, medical AI for Africa. Yesterday I also shared some Sophia, as well as a few applications. I talked about SMS there were services where machine learning is used to actually filter the intents and specific things that people want to know about. Like for instance, HIV, or they want to something like pregnancy, whatever. So you want to make sure if you do this at scale, you want an app that can actually filter between all of that. So there needs to be some natural language understanding and all of that. Now, here he's talking about malaria detect. It's a kind of an app that can detect that. So a smartphone app as an assistive pathological tool that will be beneficial for automatic detection of malaria. Patients can take a snapshot with their phones and instead of scrutinizing it under a microscope, feed the picture to a database. You do the pattern matching, use convolutional neural nets, deep learning, and very quickly you can actually do the matching. And you can get superhuman performance, at least as good as humans, doing these kind of matching. And then the algorithm then compares it with other blood samples and identifies if the disease is present. And this makes it scalable, this type of stuff. So there's no excuses for us anymore. The technology is there on multiple fronts. We've got mobile phones, we've got computational power, we've got access to internet, you've got the machine learning toolboxes. So it's all about just doing it, implementing solutions. So this is another great example. And then I'm also very passionate about education. As I mentioned yesterday, I've invested also in startups in educational space, smart education, and with Cortex Logic we're building intelligent virtual assistant and learning assistants as well. And there's to personalize it as well. So that's another big one. And it was quite interesting to see, even in Nigeria, they're talking about the same type of things here. And he's giving some other examples. This is now Saya, a Japanese humanoid, being utilized. I've got a different picture where you can still have complementing humans in this. So not necessarily have a robot to sit there. But anyway, then his next slide was on crowdsourcing for collective intelligence. Again, malaria elimination and stuff. But okay, so here was one, lifestyle, Lara.ng. So this is a local Nigerian chatbot that does more than Google Maps for the low-income segment. You can see, well, they've got specific interfaces, so you can actually type in specific things. Take me to Danfo or there and work. And I'm not exactly sure how this thing particularly works, if it actually uses Google Maps on the back end or not. Maybe you don't have it covered everywhere, and this thing uses its own knowledge base to actually direct you. So it's quite interesting that they come up with this, chatbots, to look at the low-income segment, and it does more than Google Maps. So already, this is where you add further value. So this is for me great to see. And then Kudu, I know about this one, Kudai.ai. It's a Nigerian chat to payment AI interface that translates the trauma of payment into fun. And it's actually, yesterday I just read through some of the interaction here. Just to give you an example, sir, who do you want me to send the money to? And then we said, Abimjula. Please hold a second while I help you to transfer 5,000 to Abimjula. Thanks, you're welcome. And then buy me MTN 200, please hold on a second while I send 200 airtime to you. Anyway, so you can see they're already working on these type of things and creating solutions there for their people there. Then precision farming, talk about precision medicine and stuff, but precision farming is obviously a big thing. So here is an example of precision farming in Nigeria, where they talk about zephyrus, using that. And yesterday I mentioned crop disease. I actually showed an example, cassava brown disease specifically. And so it's in my presentation, you will see the detailed paper about that. But this is another one. This is smartphone crop disease diagnosis, image classification implemented in a $100 Android phone. Disease vector counts are needed, and so forth. So it's really good to see these kind of initiatives. Yeah, I think he ended off with just saying AI is the ultimate game changer for the African development. It can compensate for lack of experts, and well, that's a problem. We don't have necessarily all the experts here, and it's a way to scale expertise as well. It can collect better data for decision making. That's another interesting thing. It's not just feeding off data with these intelligent virtual assistants and the way you communicate now, you actually generate more data that you can analyze and feed the system, because you can learn, the system can learn from that interaction. You can look at sentiment, you can look at all sorts of things that yesterday, from an IBM perspective, they talked about sentiment analysis and personality insights and all that type of stuff. All that stuff is possible. And then the possibility of large-scale deployment, crowdsourcing have recently become possible, and then right government policy. So there's so many areas where we can make a massive difference here. Okay, so I just wanted to at least give you a sense of what Bayu wanted to present here. And so I'll make this available. So without further ado, I'm going to get to the next speaker. By the way, are there any questions in general, just on this? Any thoughts that anyone have? What we're trying to do, for people that hasn't been here yesterday, we try to keep it very interactive. If there's any thoughts or ideas that you've got, we're welcome to share and talk about that as well. So nothing yet? Early in the morning yet? Okay, cool. So now I want to introduce the next speaker.